Texas, home to the Rice Owls, and we've been looking forward to this game all week long. Today, a battle in the Lone Star State, and when you play another team from Texas, it just feels a little bit bigger. As we'll see a team from the American, the North Texas Mean Green, taking on a fellow opponent from the American, the Rice Owls. For EA Sports College Football, Reese Davis with you alongside David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. And guys, can't wait to get this one started. North Texas will kick it off to get this game underway. He'll bring it out. It's Jackson. He's not even going to make it to the 20, much less the 25. He'll mark it out of bounds at the 18. They'll crank up this drive with the pass. Got it in the middle. It's Turner. Makes the grab almost to the first down marker, but a good pickup on that one.
During the week, you got to talk to your quarterback. Quarterback, what do you like? What's your favorite, safest routes, easiest reads? Love coming out with those early with the short passing game.
And the Owls with myriad options after that big pickup on first down. They go to the ground. They're able to make the stop, but he is beyond the line to gain. It's first down Rice.
Well, this is a guy that can find you the hidden yardage. That play, he just pushes the pile to get that first down.
They'll snap this one from the 30 on 1st and 10. They'll run the option. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
Nice job by this defense playing assignment football. Somebody has to have the quarterback. Somebody has to have the pitch. And most importantly, when you get there, you got to get him on the ground. Nice job tackling by this defense.
Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on 2nd down. That's caught. It's Turner. And good coverage by the defense, just a short gain.
This quarterback right now is in a groove, and he's doing a nice job in pre-snap. He's reading the coverage, and he's getting an idea of where he wants to go with the football. That's why the ball's coming out of his hands so quickly, and that's why he seems like he's in a great rhythm right now.
They've got to come up with a big play on this 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. He's got him at the 45 on his way. Good pickup there as he gets the first down, and they'll mark him at the 48. That is just a perfect example of not deciding before the snap where you have to go with the ball.
Yeah, because that will get you in trouble. You can tell right away. He wants to get the ball to his primary. He's covered. He comes off of him, does a nice job being patient, taking his time, getting the drag route, getting the first down.
And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that.
And there was no space, nowhere to go. That play went absolutely nowhere.
Sometimes you just need a dude to show up and make a play, and he did.
And sometimes you just need to block that dude, and they didn't.
Lost one on that last one. It's 2nd and 11. back to pass. Throws for the tight end. Catch in the middle, it's Barnett. And this defense's head is spinning. He gets it down to the 27.
Well, the tight end's trying to work the middle of the field. Nobody even close to him in coverage. It's not going to get any easier than that for the quarterback. That's an easy first down.
Rice going to work with another 1st and 10. Using his legs, it's Jackson. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage.
It's an offense that takes pride in being physical. They try to get it going on the ground, but no gain on that one.
Just nowhere to run. Not a lot of wiggle room for the ball carrier.
This defense came in knowing that they had to match their physicality. Let's see if they can keep it up.
Got stuffed on 1st down. It's 2nd and 10. Wants to go up top. And it'll be incomplete. This defense is physical in pass deep.
You know, it's difficult for QBs sometimes when you're throwing to your running backs because they're not receivers. You really got to be perfect with the ball placement. You got to make that a catchable throw. A little bit too tough for the RB on that one.
9th play of the drive coming up, but they'll have to convert 3rd and long to keep it going. He might want another play. On 3rd and long, trying to have a big completion here. Finds a soft spot in the middle. He's going to come up a couple of yards short of the 1st down. They'd hope to be able to pick up enough after the catch, but a good stop leaves them with a 4th and short.
Really good job by the defense being physical, understanding the situation in the game. The ball's going to come out quick. You know that. Go make the tackle, force the 4th down.
And they'll send out the field goal unit. The kicker will reach for a 36-yard attempt. And this one is perfect. And that'll put the first points of the game on the board. It's 3-0.
He'll take that first drive. Like, you wanted a touchdown, but you gave the people here at home something to cheer about on that first drive. Move the football enough to get your kicker an opportunity and to put 3 on the board.
And he takes this from inside the 5. Offense in a bunch formation. Wasting no time throwing on this drive. And that incomplete pass caused by the big hit on 1st down, 2nd down coming.
Love the physicality of this secondary on defense. That defender got to the football, was able to separate the receiver from the ball, and did it legally. Beautiful job.
So now it's 2nd and long. He leaves it with the back. Turning it on. He gets it all the way out to the 19-yard line, a pickup of 6.
It's got to feel good as an offense knowing that early in the drive you can turn around, hand it off, get a push up front, and go get positive yardage.
Mean Green trying to convert on 3rd and short. They'll try to get the first through the air. Caught close to the marker. It's Coleman. It'll be a 1st down as he gets it to the 24-yard line.
Really nice job locking in by the quarterback that time on 3rd down. That was a completion you had to have. You're only down 3-0, I get it. It's your 2nd drive of the game, so lots of football to go, but you want to establish a rhythm and confidence as early as possible, and getting that completion on 3rd down was big.
From the gun, they'll try to impose their will. Not a lot of room, but found his way ahead for 2 out to the 26.
And what's the closest guy to the football, man? It's those defensive tackles, and those guards and centers have to work together. They got to get those guys and get some movement. They don't on this play, and the big fella eats. Nowhere to go. When you run into him, you usually meet the ground.
Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on second down. They think they can create space here with a run to the right. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield.
Yeah, I think the running back kind of went rogue on that last running play. I'm not sure it was designed to go that direction. He tried to make it happen on his own, and unfortunately ended up losing yards.
North Texas lining up, facing 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Fires to the wideout. Picked off. What a way to set him up. Takes it the other way. And a big return after the INT sets up the offense for this possession.
Watching this DB on film, I just love his ability to break on the ball, and I think he was anticipating on 3rd and long that time, the offense throwing it right around the sticks. So he was able to drive on the football and secure that interception.
Does life get any better than this for an offense to start a drive with a 1st and goal? Now on the move. And he'll finish the run in the end zone. Touchdown, Owls!
This is like having an extra running back in your backfield. This quarterback is magic. When he decides to keep the football, he can make people look absolutely silly. He shows you on that play.
Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And with the extra point, they're now up by a touchdown and a field goal at 10. That's exactly what you want to do when you have that type of field position. Strike quickly, and they did. One play, and they put it on the board. And it'll come out to the 25. No attempt at a return. They'll put this one in play. First snap of the drive from the 25. Coming out on 1st down with the play fake. Oh, and he just dropped it so close to his 2nd interception of the game. Instead, it'll be 2nd down.
This quarterback feels like he's spiraling a little bit right now. Of course, he threw the pick on the last drive. That last throw should have been picked off. Thanks to the defender dropping it, the offense is still on the field. And if you're this quarterback, you've got to settle yourself down. You better do it quickly.
They're dealing with a 2nd and long. The give out of the gun. Not much doing there. He gets it to the 26, a gain of 1.
Man, it's really hard to control the running game if you don't control the line of scrimmage. And how about the defensive line doing a great job attacking those guys up front, not open up lanes to run through. Nice job just nullifying that run altogether.
The Mean Green will have to reach into that playbook here on 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Intercepted. A first-half turnover can swing momentum. A return there would have just been icing on the cake. They'll just have to settle for the cake at the 23. Takes over the Owls, ready to get that offense cooking again. They built a quick double-digit lead now to try to get this offense really humming. Able to move it ahead a couple of yards. He gets it down to the 20. Got 3 on 1st down. It's 2nd and 7.
29 Philly. 2-9 Philly.
Looking to fire. throws to the back. He's got it and still on his feet. And he'll haul it in and take it to the end zone. Touchdown, Owl. A quick strike, just as we expected.
Yeah, and quick strikes are easy when you got such great field position. Obviously, when the offense starts in such a good spot, puts the defense in a bad position, and the offense takes advantage.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And he makes the extra point. They got the ball in great field position, and bam, bam, 2 plays and into the end zone. They're set to kick it off. You think this crowd's going to get loud when their defense comes on the field? Coming out with it, it's Coleman. Gets it out to the 20, about 5 yards short of where he'd be if he'd just taken a knee in the end zone. And they'll get off one more play before the end of the quarter. Wants to go up top on first down. Finds his back in the middle. There he goes. There to make the tackle, and that's how we'll wrap up this first period. We've reached the end of the quarter, guys, and Rice has the lead. Man, that was an impressive and dominant first quarter. Let's take a look at the stats before we move on. Just about ready to get things started here in the second. We'll see if they continue to flex that muscle. So after the break, they'll go back to work.
Here we go.
Looking downfield on first down. Got the quick pass. And he's knocked down immediately, but a good pickup on that play.
Nice job there. Good timing between the QB and the wide receiver executing that out route.
North Texas can dig into that playbook on second and short. They'll run behind the big guys on the right. And this one will be stopped for no gain.
Defense is about firing off, hitting the offensive guys and staying in your gaps, everybody knowing where they're supposed to be. You could tell the defense, everyone was right where they're supposed to be, nowhere to run.
North Texas comes to the line on third and short. Motion from the wideout. On third and short, just trying to get enough for the first down. All down, but he has enough to move the chains.
Third and short, there's a lot of ways to get it in the run game. You're not just going to hand it off and go power. How about the toss play? Getting the ball in the hands of the tailback quickly, and he's able to skirt his way to get the first.
This offense has been sluggish, to say the least, but finally they're on the move on 1st and 10. Looking to throw on first down. And he throws his third pick of the day. His head has to be spinning. Got room on the return. Finally brought down, but what a play, not only to get the football, but to put the field position with the return. Rice has the ball back, and they're ready to send the offense back to the field. This has been exactly the way you draw things up, David. The offense has really been moving the football.
And it's been great execution. They've done exactly what they wanted to do. Build the lead. Now Palmer's a different animal. Now you got to protect him.
You can tell they were paying attention in practice this week in the film room because they have gone out, everybody right now on the same page.
The Owls with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. The give. Dragged down, but they'll move the sticks for a first down.
The counter play is a great play to mix in because defensively, you're not looking for the counter. You're looking to attack, attack, attack. All of a sudden, 2 guys pull across the formation. Now you got to change your direction really quickly, and it keeps you off balance and really keeps you on your heels.
Moving into scoring territory at the 36 on first down. From the gun, running back gets to give. Had to work to pick up 3 down to the 33-yard line.
That's a really nice play. It's impressive. When it's first down and the defense thinks you might be running the football, you still can line up. You can get some movement at the point of attack and find a little crease for your running back.
After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line, 2nd and 7.
42 Spider. 4-2.
Quarterback may change this route. 2nd down, they'll go to the air. Got his man. They bring him down, but not before he's able to pick up the first down.
This offense is clicking, and clearly everything is working. The offensive coordinator's calling good plays. The quarterback and his unit is executing. And this defense right now, they have no answers.
This Rice offense has a nice-looking drive going. The give to the back. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, this is a defense that we know takes tons of pride stopping the run. That's where it all starts and ends with them, and you saw a great effort on that last play.
They got nothing on the last play. It's 2nd and 10. Looking for a gap. It's Jackson. Oh, he's got some space. Headed to the end zone. Touchdown, Rice. And they add 6 more to the board with that trip to the house.
Anytime you've got a successful run play on the ground, you've got to have great blocking up front. The offensive line, receivers, everybody doing their job. And that helped lead to the home run.
Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And he added the extra point. So that scoring drive took only 6 plays. And the house call coming on the run from the 23. Kickoff unit has been busy as they have built a big lead and they're trying to hold on to it. Fielded in the end zone, it's Coleman. Gets it out to the 20, about 5 yards short of where he'd be if he'd just taken a knee in the end zone. North Texas sends the offense back onto the field. They face a pretty tall mountain here, Jesse, down 24, but if they're going to climb it, this is a good time to start.
Sense of urgency's got to be big right here. You just get the feeling at this point in the game, David, they've got to score on this drive. Obviously, their defense needs to get stops, but at this point, offensively, they've got to execute much better.
They got to be super aggressive. Down 24, you're going to need 3 touchdowns, 3 two-point conversions, everything to kind of go your way. So fast and throwing the football.
They give it to him again. Got the first down and more. That's the kind of play that can really get you going as they get it out to the 36.
This running back loves running into the teeth of the defense. In between the tackles, he keeps a low pad level, and he's got some speed.
Out of the gun, the inside give.
And you want to run the football. That's okay. You'll take some of these. But if they start to add up down the road, obviously, you might want to think about airing it out a little bit.
Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. He'll pull it on the read. Out of the crowd, and now he's got room. Good pickup there as he gets the first down, and they'll mark him at the 48.
The defense has got to do a better job with assignment football. Somebody has to be accounting for the quarterback on these run plays. You know you're going to see it. You've seen it on film. The option play, nobody home. He just takes off. That's an easy first down pickup for the offense. Moving forward now, the defense, they've got to settle in, and they've got to start playing better when it comes to assignment football.
Really nice penetration by this defense, getting in there immediately, causing the running back to have to go a direction he doesn't want to go. And this defense has started the game so good. Several drives, no points allowed, and setting the tone on this drive.
They've got him looking run. Now they're going to throw it. Pocket breaking down. Hard-hitting tackle.
He does a really good job here. You want to get a huge play. You got to push the ball down the field. You need a bunch of yards. Well, wait a minute. Now he can just tuck it, scramble, go get you a bunch of yards. Now put you in a great third down situation. Real heads-up play by the quarterback.
Rides to back and leaves it. They are on the move as they pick up the first down. They'll spot it at the 28. So the first half has come to a close. We'll take a break and head over to the halftime show. Rice ready to kick off and get things started here in the second half. He'll bring it out. It's Coleman. Pulled down at the 18, and the decision to bring it out of the end zone was not a good one. North Texas takes possession. The Mean Green offense will return to the field. They come into this third quarter with a lot of work they need to get done.
Yeah, and it starts with this possession. And I'm going piece by piece. I know this is coach speaking, very simple. I score. I get a stop. I score. I can get back in this game, but it's got to be one drive at a time.
It's going to have to be, but I think the mindset offensively is we're probably going to have to score every time we get it because our defense has been struggling. They have not been getting a lot of stops, so this is a critical drive here for this offense.
They'll start this one from the 29 on first down. Wide receiver comes in motion. Might as well run him until they stop him. He's got it again. That's about as close as you can get to that marker, and it will be second and just a few breaths away from the first down.
Really good surge that time by the offensive line. You saw all those bodies by the defense being pushed backwards. That opened up the crease for the ball carrier. He's able to get a really nice gain there, setting up second and inches.
North Texas could see if they could get a chunk play here on second and inches. And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it.
After your defense just went out there and gave up a touchdown and let them build the lead more, you really need to come out with this drive and answer. And the running game is not in. They were ready for that. Gonna have to create some explosive plays through the passing game.
Quick catch on third down. They'll get it to the 48. No need to measure. It's a first down.
So difficult because my eyes tell me as a defensive guy, he's handing it off. The offensive line's block and run. I got to go get it. Quarterback pulls it, throws it to the right. It's kind of like that hidden hat game. Like, where's the ball? I'm always trying to find that daggone thing.
Quarterback running on the draw. They stop him at the 42, but they get it across midfield. Pick up 10 and the first down.
QBs that can run completely change your game plan. I mean, every single bit of it. You have to understand now as a pass rusher, I got to keep him in the pocket. I got to understand all the zone read concepts and the power read and the jet read, all the different things they can do to you. So, having a guy back there at the helm that can run the football, you better be alert of it from the first play to the end of the fourth quarter.
And the defense makes the stop after a minimal gain.
And the defense doing a great job committing to the run. When you commit to the run like this, obviously you can give up some plays in the passing game, but you got to stop the run first.
After picking up a couple, it's 2nd and 8.
Here we go.
From the gun, they'll try the middle. Got enough for the first down and wants more. They get him corralled, but not until he's in the red zone. They'll mark it at the 14.
How nice is it in an offense when you can generate explosive plays by running the football? You got to force feed this guy, man. He is an absolute game changer.
This offense hasn't found the end zone yet. Starting to move, it's 1st and 10. They'll move the tight end. Here's the handoff. He's pulled down after a tough run, gets it to the 6.
Football is about adjustments. First half, line up, pound strong, pound strong. Second half, great job. You're going to move your defense and shift to try to account for that. Boom, we'll pull some guys and run a counter backside and have some success.
It'll be 2nd down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. Leaves it with the back. And he'll step into the end zone. Touchdown, Mean Green. Oh, the offense shows some life here and cuts into the lead with that score.
And, man, they needed it. They had to have something to go right. Listen, still down, but this is a great start to getting back in this ballgame.
Quick timeout call by the offense after the play. PAT unit on the field. And after the extra point, they're now down 24-7. So an 82-yard drive there. And he got into the house from the 6 to finish it. The kickoff unit is out there, and boy, did that last drive quiet this crowd. And no chance at a return here. They'll start this drive at their own 25. The drive starts from their own 25-yard line. They'll ride the running back and leave it with him. Good, solid run on that one as he gets it up to the 33-yard line.
You want to make play calling easy for an offensive coordinator? Run the ball like that every play. I mean, when you can run that on first down and set up a short yardage on second down, it makes play calling easy. Every single call on that sheet is available here on second down.
They stop him cold, maybe gets a yard to the 34.
And, man, the big fellas up front, they don't get a lot of credit. They'll get talked about a lot unless it's negative, but they're the big component, man. They've got to get some push, to get some running lanes, get this running game going. They're the ones that make it go.
And the Owls come to the line on 3rd and short, trying to convert here. They'll stick to the ground, looking for the marker. Gets it to the 42-yard line, and that's a first down.
Man, that was a good run, but it was almost even better. Great job by the offense. Keep the running game going. You get big chunks like this. Not only was that a big chunk, it also looked like it could have gone for more.
They try to pop a run on the draw. And they'll wrestle him to the ground after a short gain.
That's a really good job by the defense, wrapping them up, getting them on the ground. Take away that run game. Make them one-dimensional, put them in passing situations. Really good job by the defense.
Got 3 on first down. It's 2nd and 7. They'll run it from the gun. Pass the sticks, and he may get more. Across the 50-yard line on the huge pickup, and he's out of bounds at the 45.
And listen, the offensive line has to do their job, but a really good job by the running back, understanding where his hole is. Go hit it, get the first down, don't mess around. Nice job following his hole, getting positive yards.
That's the end of the period, and Rice is on top. And they've built a comfortable lead after 3 quarters of play. Let's take a look at how we've gotten here. Just about ready to go in the 4th, and we'll see if any drama can be mustered. So first down, we'll open up the final period. They'll give it to him again. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
Great team defense on that run play. Everybody doing their job. People winning their one-on-ones, D linemen staying in their gaps, linebackers and DBs filling. You just can't do it better.
Got stuffed on first down. It's 2nd and 10. They're looking for an advantage in the running game to the right. And the defense snows him under after a very short gain. It'll be 3rd and long. give to the running back. Picks up the first down, still moving. All down, but he has enough to move the chains.
And if this offense can keep that rolling, if they can keep the physical ground game and continue to add these plays up as they go along, long drives, eat the clock with the lead, this coach will be ecstatic.
They'll leave it with him. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that.
It's going to be tough sledding for the offense here. They're trying to ice this game by running the football and bleeding the clock. They've got a pretty good lead here late in the game, but the defense knows the run's coming, right? So they're going to be loading the line of scrimmage, getting stops like what they just did. Be interesting to see what the offense does on this next one.
Running back searching for a hole. Not much room to run. Let's give him one to the 33.
And when you're down later in the football game, you got to start taking some chances. And that was a beautiful run blitz. Great job playing the probability, understanding it might be a run to run some clock, and they guess right, and they make a big play for this defense.
Already 2 for 2 on third down, but this time they'll need 9 to convert. The give to the back. He did not make it a stone wall on third down.
They're trying to run the football. There's just nowhere to go for the ball carrier inside. He tried to bounce it to the outside. That linebacker way too fast. He met him there and forced the TFL.
Here comes the field goal unit. He'll have to generate power and some accuracy. A 50-yarder from the left hash. It's good, and that was dead solid perfect. And now the lead is even bigger. They're really starting to extend that lead as they get ready to kick it away again. And it'll come out to the 25. No attempt at a return. North Texas sends the offense back onto the field. There wasn't much need to throw it around on that last drive for the touchdown, Jesse. They got it done running the ball.
And David, I don't think you have to overthink this thing. If they can't stop you running it, why would you stop handing it off? Just keep at it here on this drive.
Well, and if I'm the defense, I'm making some changes. I'm bringing in more big bodies. I'm playing more aggressive towards the line of scrimmage. I am not going to let them have that kind of drive again.
Trying to make that rush think on the draw play here. And he gets it to the 44-yard line. It'll be a first down.
I tell you what, they're down, but they're not out with this guy. They keep feeding him. He keeps having success on the ground. Maybe I use this now to catapult, use some play action, make some bigger plays down the field. But the run game has not been the problem today.
Wide receiver going in motion. The give to the tailback. Not much working there. It'll be 2nd and 9.
And that run really didn't go anywhere. And a lot of times we don't focus on it enough. But how important those 5 guys are up front. To get on those defensive linemen, to try to move them out of the way, to get a run game going, it squarely falls on the shoulder of those 5 offensive linemen.
Now he's looking to throw it. Snagged in the middle. It's Williams. Nice gain on that play, but leaves it a little short of the first down.
Well, and here's the problem offensively. Because you're trailing by so much so late in the game, the defense now is going to be playing big zone coverages, and they're going to allow you to throw the ball underneath in the middle of the field, rally to make a tackle, and bleed the clock. It's going to be hard now for this offense to claw their way back in this one.
The Mean Green trying to convert on 3rd and short. To the ground to try to move the chains. They thought they could just run it on 3rd and short, but this defense was there to make the stop. Down by multiple possessions, you can't come up empty on this drive. They'll go for it on 4th down. Here's a quick throw out to the left. They knock him down, but he's got enough to get it across the line and pick up the first down.
How many times do you see receivers catch the ball and dance and you get so annoyed because you're like, dude, do you see the yellow line? Go and get it. Really nice job by the receiver with the second effort, getting the extra yards and getting the first down.
They're trying to slow that rush down with the draw.
Well, the interesting thing about a run here trailing late is the defense isn't expecting it. That's the good news. Bad news, though, is you're still trailing. You need to score quickly, which means you need to be throwing the football right now.
The Mean Green can be aggressive if they choose here on 2nd and short. Gives it to the back on the draw. Knocked down in the backfield, and boy, this guy's had a good day, but they finally get to him on that run.
And sometimes for the defense, it just takes one play, right, to create some momentum. Obviously, this guy's been eating them up. He's got over 100 yards rushing on the day. But finally, David, they get something positive here in the run game defensively.
But you kind of know that coming in. He's going to get his. Such a great back, and he's had a great day. Need to put more plays together like that right there.